Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and in this video we'll be discussing about some of the important operators in Java programming language. And so far we've been covering a few topics in Java, and then we'll be focusing on operators. They are pretty easy to understand but very fundamental and very useful all the time, and every time you write a complex program you'll be using operators, so you can never escape it. All right, so in the last video we talked about string demo, and so far we have been using Java 25. I've always used Java 25, but we really not use much syntax of Java 25. So today I would like to show you Java 25 way of writing files so that we don't need to create class or write this long public static void main. So we'll be writing something known as compact Java file, and that is the syntax. But most of the time you'll be using this because Java 25 released recently. So don't skip this. But Java 25 way of writing file is a little bit shorter. So I'll be going here and then right click and new Java compact file. So you can do uh, class because it can create a class, and then you can write main method. That's perfectly fine if you are not using Java 25 and you don't want to upgrade to Java 25. But if you are using Java 25, so first let me show you. If you are using Java 25, so you just go to project structure, file, project structure, and then look. So I'm using Java 25, and that is the one step. And the second is, if you go to help and check for updates, mine is already up to date, but if, in case your IDE is not updated, you have to update it so that this feature is available, otherwise it won't show up in the IDE. All right, let's go with Java compact file, and I will show what it is. So I'm going to be naming it as operators. Look at this. So we don't have any class. We don't have any main public static void main. So I'm just simply gonna do main, and this has to be like this, right? So this is it. So this is compact because this is short. That's why they have named it differently. Compact Java file. It is pretty short. But like I said, you'll be using most of the time. You'll be dealing with this kind of code because they are dominant in market now. But maybe a couple of years later, you will also be seeing this syntax. All right, just Java 25 feature. So, all right, what are operators? So operators are pretty simple. So whenever you want to do some kind of operation on, let's say you want to add numbers, then the multiply numbers, divide numbers, find the remainder, increment some numbers by one, all of these kind of things are performed using operators, right? So operators are like, for example, plus, minus, multiplication, and then this is also AND operator, this is OR operator, and then there are also some operator, for example, like this one, this caret symbol, and a lot of others. But we'll be covering at least some of these because these are pretty simple. We'll be focusing on this one, modulo operator, and then also and or, and then this division operator. But I will be quickly showing the basic one. So I have integer a equals to, let's say, 10, and integer b equals to 20. And if I want to add number, or I can say sum a plus b, and then io dot println sum. All right, so I am printing a sum of these two numbers. This is simple. So if you change it to minus, it will subtract number, and that's pretty simple. But the thing gets interesting when we go to, let's say, this division operator. Mathematically this is division, but in programming this is not a division operator. Actually this divides and gives us the remainder. So many people call it modulo operator. So you can call it modulo operator, or just the operator that returns a remainder of some operation. All right, let's go ahead and see. So for example, integer x equals to 100, and then integer y equals to 30. So, and if I do division x divided by, for example, y, and then I print io.println, and then I'm going to be doing division equals to, and then div. So look at this. So whenever I'm doing this division operator, so this division operator, so the 30 divided by 100 divided by 30 should be around 3 point something, right? But since these results are whole integer, we'll be getting something like a whole number, in this case 3. So I'm gonna be running it. Look, this is 3, this is not. But if you want to get the result in decimal point, you've already studied that and we have already covered that. So you can cast it to double and say, all right, since you can cast it to double, and then say, hey, I want this result. I don't want to lose the value after this, right? So it is going to be 3.333, something like that. Okay, so it is giving us the whole value, so we are not losing any value. So we are being explicit here, and we have already talked about that. And there is another operator, so the remainder, for example, integer remainder equals to x, and then this percentage sign, and then y. And then I'm going to be copying this and then paste it. And if I say remainder and then remainder and run it, look at this, 10. So that means whenever I divide 100 by 30, 30 times 3 is 19, and 90 plus 10 is 100. That means the 10 is the remainder, right? This is a basic. So whenever you want to get something like this, you always use this operator. And we also have another operators, and these are pretty useful. For example, when you want to increment, let's say, x value, now currently x is 100, and you want to say x equals to x plus 1, you can do perfectly this, but there is also shortcut, and this is x plus plus, and if you print x, now it will be 101. So similarly, you can also do minus minus, all right, and if you do it, it is going to be decremented. All right, so you can also do, for example, minus minus y. So this minus minus y, what does it do is it is pre-decrement, or this pre-operation, right? And this is post operation. We will see this impact in loop. Probably here we will not have um, like a big impact here, because it's the same, but in loop it will do impact, right? That means it depends when we increment or when we decrement. We will cover about that when we encounter loop. All right, and similarly, we have few other important operator, and that is going to be AND operator, this AND operator, and then OR operator. So these operators are extremely important. And so this AND operator, that means, imagine when you have two values and then you are saying, okay, I want this and I want this as well, right? That means I want both. If someone doesn't give you both, you are not going to take it, right? Because you want both. So then and means all right, and then or means one of the values. So what do I mean by that? Let's say someone's age is going to be 20 years, right? And you want, and then someone's ID is 10. So what you want is and is equal 10. You want is equal 20 and id equal 10. Id equal 10. All right, so I'm going to be introducing a variable called is valid. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print it and show you the result. Look at this, it is true because now I'm doing ANDing. But if I do, let's say 11, it is going to be false because I'm saying age is 20 and ID is 11, but ID here is 10, right? So that does not match the condition. That doesn't match the all condition. All of them, all of these condition must be true if this has to be true. All right. So then if you change it to, let's say, or, now what I'm gonna do is valid or, okay, and then instead of this and, I'm gonna be doing or, and then is valid or. So if I print it, look at this, this is true, right? Because now one of the values is true. So if I do 21 and 11, none of them are true, so it is going to be false. All right, it's going to be false. But now if I change back to 10, again here, it doesn't have to be this first or second. It could be any one of them. As long as one of the values is true, it is going to be true. That's pretty important to understand. So this is pretty important to understand, and I hope you understand. So when you make sense, this all and then one of the values, you will understand about it. All right, so these were like the pretty important operators in Java, or they will be applicable to any other programming languages. And this is also a very short and easy to understand topic. There is another operator called ternary operator. Maybe we can discuss about that in a separate video, because ternary operator, we will maybe focus on this when you go to if and else statement. But these are the basic operation that you can perform. This pre-post, this is called post because I'm doing something and then doing operation either minus minus or plus plus, and this is pre. For example, in this case, pre-decrement, and here pre-post and then decrement, right? But if you use plus plus, it is increment instead of decrement, right? Increment means add, and then that, and this is the same as, so for example, doing x plus plus is same as x equals x plus 1. You can perfectly do x equals x plus 1, that's fine, but it's just like a shorthand. All right, so that was it for this video. So if you really want to understand more about operators, so here is the link. Maybe operators are pretty simple, so but there are like a lot of other operators. We may cover some of them in coming days, but there are like so many operators. These operators, maybe you don't need to study this document, but whenever we are covering some advanced topics, it's always best idea to go ahead and open docs.oracle.com and have a look at the topic that you are trying to understand, because these documents are so standard and written by the people who actually created Java. All right, so that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. So if you have anything confusing, let me know in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.